committee members, Mr. Johnson, Mr. Lawson. We have 3 items. The first item, administration has asked that this item be delayed. So we'll fall into item number 2. Okay, I'll read item number 1 and then it will be delayed. To consider final adoption of an ordinance authorizing the mayor to enter into professional service agreement with kja+communications+group for the maintenance and production of programming for the city government access channel and development of the city's website. Again, I say the administration asks that this be delayed. So we'll go to number 2. To consider final adoption of an ordinance amending section 4-25A1 of the Alexandria City Code relating to requirements for security devices and standards for certain alcohol beverage license permit. And it's book item number 21. And the Chief, you going to speak on it?
Yeah, myself and Sergeant Lynch. Gentlemen, what this is related to what we passed, I think, last year concerning requiring Class B liquor licenses to have video cameras in the stores. Well, what we didn't require was a time limit. In other words, sometimes you have people go in and pass a couple of $100 bills that are counterfeit, and there's a camera shot of them, but it gets erased before we have a chance to go look at it. So we want to increase that time limit to 30 days. If you got some technical questions, Sergeant Leach has come from APD to discuss those with you. But that's all it is, try to increase it to a 30-day time limit for that to keep the video on hand.
I move.
Second.
It's been moved by Mr. Lawson, seconded by Mr. Johnson. Discussion.
Gentlemen, the only problem that we saw with this ordinance is that there was no requirement of a time limit that these businesses were required to keep the recordings. In other words, they could record 1 day's worth of video, and the very next day they could take that recording medium and re-record over it. Therefore, we were not having any kind of a record of recordings. This came to light after a crime was committed at one of the ATMs inside one of these particular businesses, and we did not find out about it until 3 days later. When we found out about it, we went to get the recording of the person who had committed the crime, but it had already been recorded over. So there was no provision to require the businesses to keep the recording medium, whether that was a VHS tape, a DVD, or a CD, whatever the case may be. So,
help me understand. The ATM was stolen out of the store.
No, sir. The ATM wasn't stolen out of the store. Someone accessed the ATM to make an unauthorized withdrawal from it with a debit card.
That's it. I think it's a great idea. How often do we check these establishments? Do we do periodic checks to make sure they are adhering to our ordinance?
The very first check that I'm aware of, Mr. Lawson, was in this particular case here. It was a fairly new ordinance. Now, that's just what I'm aware of. I don't know if any other checks had been done, but we're hoping that if this measure passes today, once it is enacted, we're going to begin doing spot checks of these different businesses on a surprise basis.
What's the penalty if they don't abide by the ordinance that we would pass in this measure?
Mr. Johnson, I don't have a copy of it with me, so I don't know. Chief?
I think it's in the ordinance.
Mr. Leach, and the Chief asked us to work on this. This would be subject to the general provisions, which is a misdemeanor fine. It could also be considered part of the point system tabulations, Mr. Johnson, where you develop so many points you could run the risk of your license. It would be one of a number of other considerations. It would be the normal misdemeanor that any violation of a code of ordinance would impair.
Right, I just want to make sure that we had something in place to make sure that if they didn't abide by the laws and measures that were set by the standard, that we would have some form of policy to protect it.
And we do have that. It would continue the existing penalty as it currently stands. And Mr. Johnson, we've also provided that the effective date of this ordinance will be March the 1st, because we wanted to give people that much time to hear this announcement today. Mr. Leach and the Chief have been working on this, and they felt that the implementation date of March 1st would be a sufficient time period for all of those license holders to get up to speed, to begin their retention policy before the department begins their inspections.
Thank you.
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay, we'll refer to the full council. The administration has asked that item number 3 be delayed for 2 weeks. So do we have any other business coming before legal? If not, state your name and
My name is Eric Hunt, and I'm the owner and operator of Eric Hunt Associates. And I would like to go on record and say that I'm interested in the bid for, in helping to maintain the government access channel. I have copies of my proposal here that I'd like to submit to you all.
go ahead. Yeah.
What you made, and you certainly can submit it, but I want to make sure that you, if you want to compete, maintain your competitive edge. I think that maybe the wishes of the administration and the council that we actually consider an RFP in this process. And if we're going to do that, I don't know if you want to release your thunder at this point, but it's up to you.
But just like I said, I just want to go on record stating that I'm interested in the business.
Okay.
All right, thank you.
All right, thank you. Do we have any other business?
Eric, you want to submit this now, or you want to hold it till the RFP comes? It doesn't matter us, but it's a public record if you leave with me.
Okay.
I can submit it now.
This meeting's adjourned.